All right, muchachas. So my first video recording that I did for you was on the pronombres chart, right? How to fill out our chart, talking about the pronouns in Spanish and how to recognize each pronoun and what they're used for, right? And how to keep them straight. So if you haven't watched that video yet, do that first because you definitely want to fill out your pronoun chart before you watch this video. Because what we're going to do in this video is, now that we've looked at our pronouns, I want you to flip to the back of the chart, right? So you're going to look at the back of your chart. Hopefully you've printed it out, or you're doing this on Word and you can add another page to the back. But basically what we're going to add to this now is placement of pronouns. We want to know where those pronouns go, particularly when we're talking about reflexive pronouns, direct object pronouns, and indirect object pronouns. Okay, subject pronouns are pretty easy. They go at the beginning of the sentence, normally, right? Sometimes in Spanish we don't even have to have them because you can tell who the subject is by the way the verb is conjugated. But all the other pronouns, reflexive, direct, and indirect, they have rules about where they go in terms of placement. So let's talk about them. Okay, so first rule, let's see here. All right, first rule. This is if you have one verb, right? If you have one verb. All right, if you have one verb, the pronoun goes directly before the verb, which will be conjugated. Okay, because if you have one verb, it's got to be conjugated, because you can't have a complete sentence if your verb's not conjugated. Okay, but sometimes in Spanish we have two verbs, which become verb 1 and verb 2, right? Okay, so in this case, you have choices. The pronoun can go either directly before the first verb, right? Okay, so that's going to be verb 1, which is always conjugated. All right, conjugated. Or it can be attached to the end of the second verb. Okay, so verb 2. And verb 2 is the one that stays in the infinitive. So it's not conjugated. All right, so let me give you an example. All right, so we'll do an example for this one first. Example. All right, so if I'm going to say, I buy a book. Yo compro un libro, which means I buy it, right? And we're going to replace, libro is our direct object, so we're going to replace it with lo, right? So where am I going to put that lo? It's going to be yo lo compro, because it goes directly in front of my verb, and my verb is compro, okay? But let's take a different one. Let's say I have to buy a book. So my sentence now will be, yo tengo que comprar un libro. So I want to say I have to buy it. Book is my direct object. It's what I'm buying. So we're going to replace it with it. So it's going to be a lo. But where do I put the lo? Well, here I have two options, because here, tengo, okay, my tengo is verb 1, right? Verb 1. Or it can be attached to the end of verb 2, right? So let's put that right there. So here's verb 2. See how verb 1, tengo, is conjugated, right? It's the verb tener, but I've conjugated it for the yo form. My second verb is comprar. And so comprar is my second verb. It's not conjugated. It still ends in AR, okay? Okay, so with this option, I actually have two choices. I have two options. I can either put it directly before the conjugated verb, verb 1, yo lo tengo que comprar, or I can attach it to the end of the second verb. So, yo tengo que comprarlo. And see how it's attached right there? Okay. Now the trick here though is you got to choose one or the other. You can't put it in both places. Okay. It's either going to go before verb 1 or you're going to attach it to the end of verb 2. Okay. So what happens if you have two pronouns together? Right? Well, we're going to remember rid, like rid bug spray. Okay. So this is the order of your pronouns. So your order is going to be reflexive, then indirect, then direct. Okay? Now, interestingly though, you will never have a reflexive and an indirect in the same sentence because the indirect is the person who's receiving the action of the verb, right? Or receiving the object. Or so an indirect, in a sense, is technically a reflexive. So you won't ever have those together. Normally, it's going to be indirect and direct that are together. So your indirect would go first and then direct. So rid helps you remember because it's like rid bug spray. So reflexive, indirect, then direct. So let's say I buy a book for Pedro. Okay. So now Pedro's my indirect because what do I buy? Book. To whom do I buy it or for whom do I buy it? Pedro. So we're going to replace Pedro with le, right? Because he's my indirect. And so it's going to go lo, because it's going to go indirect, then direct. Okay? Which we've hopefully learned. You guys are going to learn. You can't have lo. That's a tongue twister. And since that's a tongue twister, we can't use le. If they both start with an L, you can't do that. Okay? You got to change the le to a se. So, yo se lo compro. Okay? Down here, same thing. I could put lo, and again, I'd have to change it to se lo. And over here, same thing. It would be Pedro, lo, all attached. But I can't have both pronouns start with an L. So if they both start with an L, you've got to change the le or the lace to a se. Okay? Now, since I've added two more syllables to this verb, if you add two more to a verb, you're going to have to count back 3, 1, 2, 3, and put an accent mark, let's see, over that A. Comprársela. Okay? All right. So there's your order.